individual, the telling and discussing for 10 minutes. Then we have the facilitator. And our facilitator role is to keep people on track with understanding that we're not giving advice. We're asking questions for clarification and to understand those underlying assumptions. So let's take those roles, and 10 minutes apiece for the telling, sharing, and discussing of the story. And so that gives us 30 minutes, 10 minutes apiece. We'll be back in 30 minutes. Now that we have written our stories and we have shared them, it's time to reflect upon what they mean and how the process of storytelling has gone for us. Soren Kierkegaard suggests that we live life forward, but we make meaning of it by looking backward. Reflection is just such an important process for us. So now let's reflect upon how it felt to hear our stories, how it felt to discuss them, and what other observations you might have made in this case story process. Let's take 10 to 15 minutes in our small groups to reflect upon this process so far. If you want to, join 2 groups together. 10 to 15 minutes, and I'll see you back right here. Now that we have returned from our small group reflection, let's have the groups report to the large group of what you observed. What were the benefits for you? What were the possible limitations of applying the case story facilitation method in your particular group and organization? How did it work for you? So let's talk about, for about 10 minutes, how this process of case story has worked for you so far. I'll see you in 10 minutes. We've discussed the benefits and the limitations that we've observed through our process and this application in our organizations. Let's now take a look at what we find in the literature is said about the benefits and limitations of the case story process. What we find is that case story allows the meanings to really emerge and bubble to the surface. That happens through the strength of the rapport building, the relationship building that is so much a part of this particular facilitation technique. So those are 2 of the strengths. Another is that there's a lot of critical reflection that occurs in the case story process. We really dig into what those assumptions are, and that allows for us to see things differently, gain new perspectives, and those new perspectives, when put to work, allow us to use new communication patterns, patterns that we may have observed from our fellows, our colleagues in this process as we heard the discussion of our own stories. So we build those new communication patterns. It's possible that there's some awkwardness that can occur in case story during the writing. When we write stories that are close to us, we may not want to reveal them. It may feel uncomfortable to write them down initially. And facilitators, that makes it so important for us to develop that safe learning environment, that collegial atmosphere where our fellows, our colleagues, our friends can feel comfortable revealing the dilemmas that they want to share with us. So we can make a difference there. Sometimes we want to tell war stories, stories that we've told over and over, and if we do that, then it's difficult to see different ways, to see new perspectives and communicate differently about them. So we really want to encourage our participants to avoid the war story.